He who chases perfection achieves excellence, but he who chases perfection also achieves nothing. If you're a perfectionist, then you probably think that one of the biggest sins you can commit is to compromise on creativity or quality. In this video, I'd like to talk about why this approach, while being important, can prove to be counterproductive in the long run. So before we begin, let me introduce myself so that they don't say that chivalry is dead. My name is Hajid. I'm a writer with a medical degree who loves creating films, commentary videos, and music. If that sounds like an oxymoron to you, welcome to my life. As a creator, I regularly find myself struggling with the standard of achieving perfection, of using just the right words to ensure that my words hit the mark, or mixing and mastering my music in just the right way. I'll tell you a quick story. In March of last year, I released my first album and it was called War and Peace. I'm really proud of this album, like really proud. All the production on that album was done by me, so it was fully recorded, mixed, mastered, played, written by me. It took me 3 years while balancing med school to finally finish it. But towards the end of the release, I came across an issue. My songs were too quiet. You'd think this is a simple fix, right? Just raise the overall volume and voila. However, it is indeed much more complicated than that. You have to make sure that the songs are firstly mixed well enough for you to be able to raise the volume without it damaging the whole. I don't want to get too technical, but the point is, many of these songs were made with experience that I hadn't yet gained. I didn't learn those production lessons yet. I was just making music with whatever experience I had. And now I have to pay the price, and it was very frustrating. I remember one of the songs, Flowers Will Bloom, I damn near made 30 versions just to make sure that it sounds right. Just reworking, failing, retrying, still not good enough. I'm not saying that it's better for my album to be released with the state that the songs were in. I'm lucky that I was able to realize this before the album was released, but I was also unlucky because this was a big issue. It's not just something that you can scoff at and go like, oh, you know, it's alright. However, there are other things that are less detrimental than that. And this is where the concept of limited scope can come into play. Whatever you created back then, you had created it with limited scope and experience that you didn't gain until later on. That shouldn't stop you from creating. And it should also act as a reminder that whenever you're complicating things too much, twisting the knots too tight on yourself, that maybe you just don't have the scope to do this thing at its full potential. I reached a point where if I keep on twisting the knots, I'm going to end up dry and with no album. So I just decided to go for it and release it. I'm not trying to tell you to settle for good, but maybe take a step back to realize what you have already is great. Nothing feels worse than wasted potential, than knowing that you can be great but being one step away from gripping onto it. It pains us to be average, hence why we always want to strive for greatness. But sometimes we confuse the concept of perfection with that of greatness. We think that if what we do is not perfect, then it's worthless. Einstein didn't perfect his theory through making the right decisions over and over again, but rather through making mistakes and adjusting the way based on them. That's how a genius is made, by running through every mistake one after the other until they learn how to avoid all of them. Anything before that is caused more by luck and less by skill. So make your mistakes and learn from them. If you want to be great, then welcome trial and error as not a hindrance, but an essential building block of your progress. If you place all your eggs in the bucket of cultivating the perfect product, especially at the start, you're going to be losing out on a lot of opportunities that can open doors and make you money. Launch your idea and fine-tune the details as you move. There are many things that you'll learn when you begin and build your brand and your pockets in the process. I experienced this with my English teaching club. I created it in a response to a circumstance that caused me to think outside of the box to make money. It simply began as online lessons for intermediate students, but as time went by, I added more levels and more teachers and a creative team for social media, began building the foundation of my brand, and of course, made some money. It's not as complicated as you may make it in your head. Just start and be open to modifications and constructive feedback and ideas as you go. It helps skip some of the steps of failure before reaching your final product. Just be smart and fill the gaps you see with the skills you have, monetize it, build, and learn. When you can afford to sit back and take 5 years off like Kendrick to create a fully fledged body of work, then by all means. But until then, try to create good, valuable work while making a name for yourself with a vision to fine-tune this work into its great potential eventually. In conclusion, don't complicate it for yourself. Make it easy to start. If you want to create films or videos but don't have the time to create long content, then start with short form content. If you want to make a stand-up show but don't know how to book and sell out, then start with a small show. Get some people who might be interested in your community and create it. Try to look for a way to create what you want from where you are right now. If you want to write a book but don't have the time, then start by writing blog posts and articles and post them, so that by the time your film is made, your stand-up set is ready, your book is finished, you'll have a brand that help you reach your audience, and skills that have taught you which pitfalls to avoid, and the bravery to create greatness and know that it's not synonymous with perfection. This was my imperfect attempt at creating a perfect video. Share your thoughts and stories in the comments. I'm very interested to read them. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to be a part of my journey. Deuces, baby.